So, welcome back to this evening's training. We appreciate all of you who have joined us this evening, and we're going to go ahead and we'll get started. So, this evening's training, we're looking at, okay, we're at the end of 2022, and it's not too late to end 2022 in a good way, and even begin to prepare yourself for a prosperous and a productive 2023. And so I was thinking about that, I was like, okay, let's look at how can we start now fortifying and building our business in a way that it begins to pay off for us in 2023. And so, like I had mentioned earlier, I really am hoping to get a lot of participation from you all so that we can kind of brainstorm together and kind of see, what things that we can do to reach the audience that we like to reach. The audience. We want to consider all the different audience members that perhaps we can reach. And then what are some things that we can set in place now or begin to set in place now that will pay off for us in the new year, setting ourselves up for the new year, because we're going into the winter months and, it gets cold and everything, but we still can do business. Well, we can still do business in the winter months. We can still be productive in the winter months. People still purchase homes and still sell in the winter months. And so we want to be a part of the resource and the services that these people are needing to be able to buy in or sell their homes. Okay, so, and you all, I'm going to tell you guys in advance, forgive me, because I'm admitting people in, and I am I'm presenting as well, but it is well. Okay, I was going to share with you all my screen, and I'll do that. And let's see, let me get this out the way. So just looking at some of the audiences that we can target, okay? We look at, and these are people, of course, we are always going to go back to our sphere of influence, right? Because those people we have relationships with, and we talked about those before, and we talked about making sure that these are friends and family know that we are real estate agents. We are active real estate agents. We are actively looking for new business and for clients that we're able to service. So we want to make sure that they know this. But on top of that, so we have those people, and we have we connect with them on the regular basis, and we are putting ourselves before them on the regular basis. But aside from them, what other audience can we maybe get in front of to begin to set ourselves up for the new year? Okay. And some of the audience members that we can do that with are expired listings. So we can look at old and new expired listings, okay? And now these people, we're not sure, we don't know why the listing expired. We don't know what their experience was. We don't know, I mean, what is it that motivated them, I guess, to list their house in the first place? And then what was it that discouraged them and made them to make the decision to, or what caused their home to not sell? So they had their house on the market for an extended period of time. And in that time, especially with us coming out of such a strong seller's market, what was it about their house? Because I'm sure, especially the newer listings that went on the market, I'm sure all of them just assumed that their house would be sold. So there's a reason why that did not happen. And we need to definitely reach out to that group of people to find out, like, we want to make sure that we are listening to them to identify what it is that what service we need to provide for them, so that they do not have a second round of, whatever it is that happened the first time. And it's about being, transparent. It's about being, informative, to make sure that you are keeping them aware, or making them aware of what the market is, what it is that they can reasonably expect in the whole process when they are listing their home with you. We want them to have a clear picture of what that looks like. Okay, they're going to have questions anyway. However, if we are able to connect with them and we're able to get an appointment with them, we want to make sure that they have a clear picture of what it is that they're going to experience when they are listing with Porterhouse International Realty Group. Okay. And the next group of people are the FSBOs, the for sale by owners. So this group of people, I guess they are convinced that they can sell their own home and they can save. Most times, really, that's what it's about. It's about me saving money so that I don't end up having to pay all of that commission. I can sell the home myself. And oftentimes, or most times, that's not the case. They need someone, that for sale by home owner needs a professional agent that is able to guide them through the process, that's able to provide them with the documentation and the disclosures and everything that they need to be able to sell their home. They need to be able to, explain to them what it is that they're leaving on the table when they try to sell the home themselves. They need to have someone who can negotiate for them. And they need to have someone who is able to provide them with different resources. Oftentimes, for sale by, you have with you, just the MLS itself is a treasure chest, that provides so many different things for your listing. You have also through the MLS, the showing time that gives them security and peace of mind as far as those individuals that are coming in to see their home. So you want to, just make sure that you let them know all of those things that you provide for them that would make and then in that case, they don't have to deal with that frustration of trying to get through a process that they're not familiar with. So you let them know and you share with them, those things that you're going to be able to do to provide that service for them. Is there anything that anyone else would like to add, or any questions that you would have just regarding the for sale by owner and the expired?
I have something to add.
Yes, Darlene.
I know that I wasn't, my follow was kind of bad, but I think it was the early part of this year when I was like I would go on Zillow and I would look for listings that, for sale by owner. And if they've been on the market for like 30 to 60 days, I would text. And it was me trying to get an appointment to preview, quote unquote, their home for a prospective buyer, which was kind of like my way of trying to get in the house. And then another thing I did was text. And at least if they had an iPhone, I would know if they read it. So those were some of the things that I did with the for sale by owner. But I just got so busy that I wasn't as good with my follow-up as I should have been. But those were some of the things that I did with the for sale by owners.
For sure. And that's a good approach, Darlene, because I know that you can go onto those websites, Zillow and Trulia, and that, and find those for sale by owners. And you even can, there's a lot that we can find in Bright as well. Those that are maybe a for sale by owner, or maybe an expired for sale by owner, that we can find. So that is a good way to locate the for sale by owners, because they don't have the exposure that we have. They don't have the resources that we have. And so we want to make sure that we feature, with these with the sellers, all of the different, or that we provide them all of the features that are available for them if they have us as their agent. And that's a good approach also, Darlene, when you were talking about, maybe approach them in a way of, okay, well, I'd like to preview your home. Then that way you're in the door, and then you're able to then have conversation with them. You're able to find out, so what is it that, that made you take or that had you make the decision to sell your home yourself, it's a good way to start a conversation with them and find out, okay, so how is it going for you? And obviously, that it's not going as well as what they wanted to, because the house has been on the market for 30 days, So then that opens up the door for you to be able to then continue the conversation, okay, so what if I brought you a full price offer, would you be prepared to accept that offer? So, and then it just leads on to more and more conversation. Okay, so think about that audience member also. Also, there are pre-foreclosures that you can look for. These are people who are in distress. They are in a position that is very uncomfortable for them. And a lot of times, in my experience, those people, I think they become very uncomfortable, because it may start out that they have, for whatever reason, have become, have defaulted in some way on the agreement that they made with their lender, or to pay this monthly mortgage payment for their home. Whatever the situation is that caused that, we don't know. And unfortunately, what happens with them is they, instead of being proactive, they just they don't know what to do, so they do nothing. Okay, is what happens. And then they find themselves in a really bad position where they're in jeopardy of losing their home. And so we have a solution for that. We are able to, again, provide them a service that we're able to, maybe you're able to help them to not have to go through the foreclosure process. And when I say not go through the foreclosure process, maybe there's something that can be done that they can actually remain in their home. And if not, depending upon how long they have been in the position that they're in, maybe you're able to help them. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want them to do is you don't want them to go through the complete foreclosure process. Maybe that pre-foreclosure, instead of it being a foreclosure, ends up being a short sale. And a short sale is not as drastic of an impact on a seller as a foreclosure is. So maybe you're able to talk to them about those things. They are, they're maybe harder audience, because they don't want you to know necessarily, although it's public record, they don't want to talk about what their situation is. And so as much as possible, if we're letting them know that we're here to provide a service for them, we're here to assist them, then, and once you get the relationship with them, once you're able to talk to them, once you're able to, just go through the steps that you'll be able to do to help them to sell their house, then they will become open to you. But it is a process as far as getting them to open up to you. And then you have another group, which is the short sale. That group of individuals that, again, for whatever reason, they are needing relief. And so they're saying to their lender, I cannot continue to pay this mortgage payment. And I'm asking you to allow me to sell the house, not necessarily for less than market value, but for less than what I owe on the property. And so that's, and that group of individuals may not necessarily be as difficult as the pre-foreclosure group of people. The short sale individuals, that may be a little bit easier to deal with those people and to help. And so we're looking at that group as well. Also, we can look at farming, geographic farming. And I'll get into that some more, but it's, when you have a targeted audience and you are narrowing down that, you're making that as, what, like Ms. Porter says, you're a laser beam, efforts to target a specific area or a specific subdivision, or a specific, maybe you want to do just 55 plus communities or something like that, but that is a very targeted approach to your listings. Also, maybe there's also the absentee owners. So there's individuals, obviously, that own properties, but they don't live in them. And maybe when they moved out of the house, and when they did, they decided they were going to have it as a rental property. And maybe now, they're kind of tired of the whole rental process. Maybe it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's more work than I want it to be. And I'm considering selling the home. We want to be the agent that is in contact with them and reaching out to them to find out, well, hey, if you're interested in selling the home, if your mind has changed as far as being a landlord is concerned, I'm absolutely available. And I'd love the opportunity to be able to serve you in that way as your agent. Maybe when they moved out of the house, or maybe they never even owned the house. Maybe they just bought it as income property, and maybe their financial situation has changed in a way that causes them to now have to consider selling that property. We want to be that agent that is there and that is available and on hand to be able to serve them. Okay. And then we have probate and estate. And that is another great audience to be able to capture. We want to be, for everyone, we want to make sure that we are listening and that we are sensitive to their needs, okay? Because probably none of this group of, well, with the exception of the geographic farming, they may not necessarily be happy about the position that they are in. And perhaps maybe even the absentee owner. They may not necessarily, this may not have been their choice, but this is what their reality is. And so we're helping them to deal with what is now reality for them and trying to move them and serve them in a way that causes the least amount of frustration for them, that gives them the most satisfaction. And so those are the things that we're looking at. Can anyone think of, well, actually I did, I thought of another group of people and that in the audience, and that is like those that perhaps are going through divorce. And oftentimes when you have individuals that are going through divorce, the home, they decide to, or the home has to be sold. And in that case, we love to be able to serve them as well. So are there any other maybe groups or audience members that you can kind of think of that we can maybe add to the list? And remember, I said I love audience participation. I need some help here today. Okay, so in just looking at those, okay, because I made myself some notes here, and looking at those, I thought about this and I'm like, okay, so we started out with our sphere of influence, and we know these people. We know them, they love us, they trust us and everything. So those are not cold clients, right? And really, this group of individuals, they're not cold either, excuse me, because these people in this group, they've actually, they've made some moves as far as whether it was because they put the house on the market, it didn't sell, or they're trying to sell it themselves. They have found themselves in the position where they are no longer able to maintain the mortgage on the property. Maybe they are in a landlord situation and they're ready to transition from that landlord situation, or maybe there's a death and they have to, their loved ones are being left to have to sell the home, or even there is a breakup in a marriage and so they have to sell the home. These people they're not cold they're not familiar to us. We don't know them personally, but they are people who are not cold to, in the sense of we're just kind of calling them out of the blue, and we don't know what their intentions are, or we don't know what they may not have experienced already. Okay. So I thought about that. And so I thought, okay, so they have a problem. And so, you know, we are here as the real estate experts, and we are preparing to provide them a service. And so what we want to make sure that we do in providing the service is we want to make sure that we want to make sure that we prepare ourselves. Okay, we want to be prepared for that expired listing. We want to be prepared. So we don't want to just, you know, decide, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to do expired listings, and let me go into Bright and let me pull up expired listings, and I'm just going to just start calling. We have to make some preparation. Okay, especially for those that are like expired or physicals that we can, you know, that we can find, you know, because they've already experienced working with, or well, the expired ones, they've already experienced working with an agent, and for whatever reason, it did not work out for them. So we want to make sure that we go in with as much information, with as much preparedness as we possibly can, so that we're able to, you know, win them over, that we're able to win their confidence, that they'll know, they'll say, oh, okay, well, you know, this person did their homework. This person could see, you know, that, or this person wanted to hear from me and wanted to know what I needed in a real estate agent, what it is that I perhaps did not get in the last agent, or they wanted to know what my needs were. So we want to make sure that we're prepared. We have to be in any of those areas. We have to just make a decision that we're going to be committed to the process, because it is a process. We're not, you know, it would be wonderful if we could just, you know, go in and go to Bright and pull up all these expireds and, you know, call them up and they say, oh, yes, it is expired. And you come over and we'll go ahead and we'll go through the listing presentation and I'll sign. And but it doesn't work like that. You have to be committed to the process. You have to be, you know, you have to make a decision that if this is a task that you're going to take on, and I wouldn't suggest, you know, trying to do all of them. Maybe just decide, I just want to try one area. You know, if you decide I'm just going to do expireds, then just, and I think really that's a good idea to do it that way versus just spreading yourself thin and, you know, trying to be here, there, and everywhere. If you're going to do this as a regular practice, then you want to just maybe just stick to one group and work that group. Be consistent, be committed, be persistent, and, you know, don't have, you're going to have to also not have, or you'll need a thick skin, you know, because people don't necessarily want to share their business with you, even though they need your services. They don't necessarily want to answer your questions up front. And so it's okay if someone says no to you and don't call me again, you know, that's okay. Go on to the next one, because you're going to get no's, and that's okay that you get a no. But at some point, you'll get a yes. You'll get someone who will hear you and will understand that they have a need and be willing to allow you to help them. And that's really what you want to do. You just want to just be committed to the process. If you decide, okay, every Monday and Wednesday morning, I'm going to spend 2 hours or whatever it is, I mean, whatever it is, make sure that it's something that you can, first of all, commit to, because you won't be able to just, like call this week and thinking, oh, I'll just call this every day this week. And if you don't do anything else until next month, then you probably, that wouldn't be the best approach. It may not necessarily yield you what you are looking for. Whereas if you are just give yourself some time, whatever time it is that you can give yourself and if you say, okay, it's going to be, every Wednesday or every Monday from 9 to 11, and this is what I'm going to do, And I would also say to you, for sure, before you, and I wanted to show you all this because I had actually pulled this up in the, let's see. Okay, how do I get out of here? Nope. Escape, there you go. I wanted to go to Brokerment. And the reason I wanted to go to Brokerment is because my advice to you from the beginning is to, and we've been saying this all along, like everything that you need is in Brokerment. And if you go in there, it really does. You get scripts. Let me see. So there is actually, here it is here. Here, scripts, and there's even scripts because I've been going in here. There's email scripts, there's call scripts, here's one for million dollar scripts, overcoming common objections. This is a good one to really kind of go in and look at, because you will get objections. And so again, that's okay that you get objections. But the more that you do this, then the more comfortable you become with it. And the easier it is for you to have a conversation. So you want to make sure, my best advice to you is your first step is to just go in and just look at the scripts. If you decide, okay, I want to do expired, go in, look at the expired scripts. And their scripts are a template, but then you make the script fit you and your personality. So make sure that you do that. I would say that would be my first thing for you. So let me ask you this. I apologize because I've kind of been talking and I said I wanted to be interactive. Are there any questions at this point or anything that anyone wanted to add? Okay. Okay. So I'll just continue then. So go through your scripts, make sure that you familiarize yourself with them so that when you then are prepared to begin your campaign or your reaching out to this audience, then you'll have conversation for them. Make sure that you're listening to them. Make sure that you're taking notes. You want to make sure that you hear what their concerns are. Make sure that you present yourself as genuine to them as well, because people know when, I mean, no one wants to tell a marketer to call and trying to sell them something. So, and we're not trying to sell something, we're trying to provide service for them. Okay. So you want them to know that you provide service and that you bring value to them. Okay. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you guys about? I was hoping that, so I said, familiarize yourself with the scripts, make them fit your personality, block out, whatever time it is that's most comfortable for you. I would challenge you guys to just try this, even just say for the first 3 months, just try this and see if you can be committed and consistent with this for 3 months and see how that works for you. Also, let's see, you may not get an answer the first time. So, you have your list of buyers, or I'm sorry, sellers, and you're going to, oh, that's what else I wanted to tell you too also. So I'll share that with you as well. But anyway, so you may have your list of sellers that you want to reach out to. And in reaching out to them, you call and you may not get an answer, so you're not going to put that to the side, because you still know whether they answer or not, that they have a need. So you don't want to just put them to the side. So put them in a rotation so that, okay, I called them this week. There was no answer. And then next week, and perhaps you have a list of maybe 10, maybe, and you spoke with 3 of them. And maybe 2 of them said, no, put me on your do not call list, do not call me again, and there was 1 that may have said, well, yes, I did have my house on the market, but I just changed my mind. I decided to, wait until the new year, or I decided to wait until the spring, Well, you're not even going to stop there. You're not going to wait until the spring. You're still going to try and open up dialogue so that you can try and begin to build that relationship with them, so that they will then start providing information to you, and you can then determine what it is that you need to do to be able to help them. Okay. So, and if there are some cases that someone may say, okay, no, I just decided to wait until the spring, and that really may be what they're going to do. And so that's another reason why you don't want to just drop them. You want to make sure that you're in communication. Try to get their email address, because you have their telephone number and you can absolutely communicate with them via text. But it would be great if you had their email address so that you can also send out communications via email as well. So they may not answer the first time, but you don't want to just drop them. You want to continue to keep them in the rotation. And just like I said before, no is okay. Not everyone is going to say yes to you, but eventually you will get a yes. Eventually you're going to get a yes, and you want to be prepared for that yes. And so with that being said, you also want to make sure that, so you've prepared yourself by way of the scripts. You're familiar with the scripts and you know what it is that you want to say to them. You have some talking points that you can have for that conversation, and you are taking notes. As you don't want to just rattle off a whole bunch of questions to them, and you really want to, because they don't necessarily want to, they think, or they say that they don't necessarily want to talk to you, but if you provide them with some valuable information, they will continue to have the conversation with you. And so with that, you don't want to just be rattling off a whole lot of questions, but you want to get information from them so that you can share with them how you'll be the agent that's able to get their home sold. Okay. Also, let me see. So you've prepared by way of the scripts. You want to make sure you prepare yourself and be familiar with the property that you're calling on. If there's an expired or pre-foreclosure or something like that, or maybe a short sale or something like that, you want to be familiar with it. So you can go into Bright and you can look at, perhaps this is just for instance, an expired. Look at the previous listing. See, if you can identify why that home perhaps did not sell. Was it not priced correctly? Was it not marketed correctly? Maybe the accessibility to showing the home was not necessarily the best. And so, it was hard or unavailable to be seen. Try to figure out what it is that may have stopped that home from being sold. Know about the homes, because you can see, obviously, you can look at the pictures, you can read the descriptions. You want to maybe go and look in the public record and make sure that what maybe you want to know, all the different features of the house, the bedrooms, the bathrooms. Obviously, you want to get from the public records the seller's name. And there's a way that you can actually go in and find telephone numbers for sellers. I won't say 100% of the time, but there is and it's free. It's a free service, and it's called True People. Let me look and see. Maybe I don't know if I can. I think it's called True People Search or something like that. Yeah, True People Search. You can go in there. And if you go in there, then you're able to, from the public record, you can find the seller's name and enter that. And then you can put in the zip code or the city and state. And a lot of times it will give you a telephone number for those people. So this is free. This is, you can just pull this up and you can do that. But before you call them, make sure you know something about their home. Okay, make sure that you are familiar with it so that they'll know, okay, this person isn't just, dialing number after number after number, but they're actually invested in my home. And they're, because they've taken the time to be able to do some research and know and be familiar with my home. So you can use that as a resource for pre-foreclosure. So you can use the Bright MLS for, let me see if I don't even have Bright open. Oh, yes, I do. You can use Bright for pre-foreclosures. You can look at it, and I'm sure we're all familiar with this, and I guess I'm speaking more of, maybe the newer agents, but you guys I'm sure have been in Bright, and you guys know that, so that you can look for expired listings. You can look for listings that are canceled, and then you can also, so then from there, once you identified your expired or your canceled listings, then you're able to then go into those properties, find out who the owner is, and then use the True People search, and then, you know, contact those owners. For the pre-foreclosures, and I don't know of, and maybe someone else does know of, a way of finding pre-foreclosures that is not at a cost. I know that you can go into Realty Track, and it's not a very expensive resource to have. I think it's like $20 a month, and you can go in and you can find pre-foreclosure homes. And the same way that you're able to find them, you have the sellers or the homeowners contact name, and you can go from there to the True People search again and find contact numbers for those. And that's not 100% of the time. However, oftentimes I have found good telephone numbers from the True People search. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to share, and or any questions that anyone has? Is
No questions. Doing good so far.
Well, thank you, Darlene. So my question to you then, in that case, for everyone who is on the training, are these any areas that you've considered maybe taking a look at and reaching out to? Or what is it, what audiences do you reach out to? Okay. No brave soul? Okay. All right. So I would suggest that you know, because we can do this, we can begin to set ourselves up in a way that would be beneficial to perhaps the seller, well, not perhaps, but beneficial to the seller, and beneficial to us as well. I don't know that, because I'm thinking that for those of you that are on, that you probably already are familiar with the different programs or the different tools that are available to be able to use to find the different audience members. And I know that with I think someone has said something about for divorce, maybe you want to engage, or I'm not even exactly sure how you would do that, as far as perhaps maybe building relationship with attorneys, you know, that maybe, you know, you can partner with to be able to then be able to service that group of people. I'm not exactly sure how that goes. But think about
probate attorneys, if we could find, befriend one of those.
Right, for sure. That's a great, that's a great person to be able to, or attorney to be able to have a relationship with. That would be really great. That will then, because that situation is, for the most part, not necessarily a pleasant situation. And so they may just be, telling the attorney, well, we're going to, or the attorney may be saying, oh, well, maybe you all are going to need to sell the house or whatever, however that comes. But it would be great to be able to have a relationship with that attorney that then will begin to give you referrals from, based on what they do. Okay, so I think if we don't have any more questions, let me see, if there's no more questions, if no one is brave enough to share anything, I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to stop the recording. Let me see.